Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and it's been a while since I did the last YouTube video on this channel or any of the other of my personal channels. I did some to Universals not too long ago, and um, and of course the One Diamond story, One Diamond episode video that recently came out yesterday. And of course, I'm still working on the next episode of Earth Agents, Diamonds for Whoever, which will be episode 18 overall. It's going to come out, hopefully, fingers crossed, Christmas. So yeah, it's become another Christmas special. I was so hoping it would become, it'll be coming on Thursday, or at least just after or just before, for the Doctor Who 60th anniversary, and then we might throw in another episode for Christmas. But no, oh well, I've still got plans for future episodes following episode 18, so we will continue the series afterwards. We're just going to get this one done first. But yeah, so Diamonds for Whoever coming Christmas 2023, fingers crossed. Got most of it done, still waiting on a few other people's footage and to get a few other people in to do some scenes too. So anyway, on to the video. So it is currently Sunday the 19th of November, coming up to 1:15 in the afternoon. Back on Friday the 17th of November 2023, we had the Children in Need event of the year, and that produced or included, I should say, the Doctor Who 2023 Children in Need special / minisode Destination Skaro, which sort of technically is the 14th Doctor's first episode, if you count minisodes. Technically, his first actual proper episode, which will also be his post-regeneration episode, will be the Star Beast, which will be airing in just 6 days. Yay! And even more exciting is the actual anniversary day is in just 4 days. 4 days to go to the actual 60th and 6 till the first special. Woo! But yes, but technically we did get the 14th Doctor's first story on Friday with Destination Skaro. I suppose if you want to be really technical, actually, big Doctor Who magazine have been releasing the 4-part comic Liberation of the 14-part Liberation of the Daleks comic, which is technically the 14th Doctor's post-regeneration story, if you want to be really technical. This isn't the first time Expanded Media has done that. Big Finish have done the 6th Doctor's final story, The Brink of Destruction, part of the Last Adventure stories series. And I think, was it Spiral Bound, I believe? That was the original book that featured his regeneration there as well. I'll go with the Big Finish version, it's better. Probably. I haven't read the book. But Big Finish's one's probably better. It's really good. It's a really good story. That series is really good. And speaking of Big Finish, Light the Flame, the first of the War Doctor Begins, is technically the first War Doctor post-regeneration story. It's funny, actually, that the 10th Doctor's first post-regeneration story is also a minisode, Born Again, and history repeats itself as the first 10th Doctor episode is Born Again, and it was filmed much later to the first main episode, the Christmas Invasion, much later, as was Attack of the Grask. But that one came out around the time of the Christmas Invasion as well. And then this one got made for Children in Need, and it was filmed on David Tennant's birthday this year, as opposed to last year when they were doing the specials. So I guess it was sometime after the comic relief stuff that Russell must have decided to do this, or at least they went ahead with the production. Anyway, so Destination Skaro. Enough rambling. Let's get to the reaction. I thought this one was a pretty great minisode. I thought it was really fun, enjoyable. Some of the comedy was kind of a bit awkward in places. It started off quite serious in the first minute, but then when the main supporting character is reading off the names, then it kind of got a little bit more silly. So okay, fair enough, a bit fun, although I think it did drag on a little bit, and I think some of the comedy between him and the Doctor was a little awkward. But it's Children in Need. It's not meant to be super amazing balls comedy. It's just supposed to be a bit of fun, enjoyable, have a bit of a laugh. And I think it's fine. A little, like I said, a little awkward in place, but mostly fine. Funny enough, it actually starts off quite serious with Davros turning up to inspect his new Mark III travel machine, the Dalek, but with a different attachment to the sink plunger at this point in time, as it has this kind of secondary weapon system, like a claw and some weapons and coming out of it, as well as its gun. But yeah, it's really great to see that Dalek, that 1975 Dalek, or technically 1972 Dalek, but that Dalek design from the Genesis of the Daleks, and it looks really great, and even more, in fact, even better actually than it does in the 70s. It looks so polished and so cool, even in the behind the scenes. That it just looks great, and also fantastic voices by Nicholas Briggs once again. Of course, what else do we expect from the god of Dalek voices? Anyway, but also, fun fact, Julian Bleach returns to play Davros for the third time after The Stolen Earth Journey's End and The Magician's Apprentice, in the which is familiar from Series 4 and Series 9 respectively. And once again, he is fantastic, and I think between all three performances, he has captured the full range of Davros. I do think Terry Malloy is the best Davros actor. Don't shoot me, Michael Wisher fans. I think that Terry Malloy has basically covered everything with Davros, TV and audio. He is Davros, more than Michael Wisher. As amazing as Michael Wisher was, and also shout out to David Goodson. He did a very good job as well, with the restraints he had. But Julian Bleach is absolutely brilliant, and I'd love to see more of him as Davros, or hear more of him as Davros. Although in the case of here, I'll probably stick to more Terry Malloy stuff for Big Finish, which is fine because he's still the best Davros. But yeah, like I said, he was able to capture a lot of range of that character, and I think Julian Bleach, at least for the TV series, has done something similar. He's done the mad, shouty, ranty Davros in Stolen Earth Journey's End, basically the traditional Davros we saw in the classic series, but modernized. Then Witch's Familiar and Magician's Apprentice, we saw the older dying Davros and contemplating and reflecting. Most of this turned out to be a con. I would say about 95% to 99% turned out to be a con. But the performance at least captured that. And, technically he was sort of dying until the Doctor's regeneration energy, but the sympathized version, I would say most of that was con. He was just trying to get the Doctor's regeneration energy. And then once he perked up again, he was a bit more in line with the character we knew before. But we kind of saw that more frail, dying side of the character, and despite some of his putting on an act moments, he did do some really great performance as the more sympathetic Davros. And now we've got Davros at the very beginning, much more as he was like in Genesis, but pre-accident, and pretty much, kind of more aligned there. I suppose he goes even more evil after the accident. Actually, don't know. That's probably a bad thing to say, considering. I'll get back to that actually, but certainly he shows off. He's still a bit of a dangerous person here in just the few moments he's got. But yeah, he is bloody brilliant. Sorry, this wasn't supposed to be a review. This was supposed to be a reaction. The review will come later. Reviews will be coming for Doctor Who stuff. Again, alongside the fact, along with the reason why I haven't been doing so much stuff recently is time. Just haven't had as much time as I used to. So, yeah. And also, to a lesser extent, willpower has kind of gone down a little bit, despite some ideas. It's just time to record and edit everything on top of everything else, and non-YouTube stuff. Anyway, so yeah, I thought this episode was very, very good, and the sink plunger at the end. It was kind of a bit awkward seeing that the Doctor was the one responsible for the sink plunger, considering he knows how dangerous those things are when they're used. But it did provide a pretty funny ending to the episode, as Davros is like, "I like it," which is pretty good. I thought that was quite funny, but yeah, I did hear some people say it's a bit like how in the Moffat era that the Doctor would kind of interfere with some early events in history, like with Davros, for example, or with them when they went back to the barn and listen, like they would, or maybe implement themselves in into a character's history, like Kazran, or I suppose accidentally Amy, but mostly Kazran. Um, but yeah, it's sort of a bit like that. But it is a little odd that the Doctor is the one inspiring the Daleks to have a sucker, but I suppose it's better the sucker than the gun. But yeah, but it's still a fun, enjoyable story. And David Tennant, the guest actor whose name escapes me, do good performances, very good performances. Enjoyed them. Also, nice to have some. I believe it's archive footage of Nida, archive audio of Nida from Genesis of the Daleks used. I think it is at least a bit like with the Brigadier's audio from Terror of the Autons being used for survivors of the Flux in the background of one scene set a unit. Um, but yeah, Destination Destination Skaro was good, fun, enjoyable, little bit awkward in places, and it is a bit odd seeing the Doctor give the Daleks the plunger, but otherwise really good. Very great direction. I think the director is going to be directing an episode or two next series. So they were able to get him to do this as well. And yeah, it's really great. Also, with the Daleks taking a bit of a back seat for the time being, as apparently Russell T Davies has said, it's good to have this and Liberation of the Daleks as the 14th Doctor's official Dalek stories, and so that we can say yes, he has met them, both on screen and off the screen. So we continue the fact that all of the Doctors have met the Daleks in some way. Okay, again, like I said, the Eighth Doctor would be expanded media because we haven't seen him face them on screens yet. But all of the other Doctors have faced them on screen. Well, as well, maybe not the fugitive Doctor, unless you count the hologram from Power of the Doctor. Then yeah. Other than that, no. But the next Doctor will probably face them at some point later down the line. There was rumours series 14's finale could be a Dalek story, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe that director was the one behind the direction of episodes 7 and 8 next series, so who knows? Or maybe they'll turn up in series 15 or 16. I'm sure they'll be appearing before the next Doctor. I'm sure they'll be appearing some point during the 15th Doctor's tenure. Even if it's the third to last serial of his era, like with the 5th Doctor. Anyway, I'm also going to quickly touch upon Doctor Who Unleashed, the first episode of that. This one was a 15-minute episode as opposed to 30 minutes, which they're going to be to accompany the 50 to 60-minute episodes of the show. And it was fun. It was good. It brought back some of that good old vibes from Confidential, but with the more updated modern twist, like Doctor Who Extra did, where they got a bit more fun stuff in there as well. And of course, there was the bit at the very end to support children in need. Russell's own pledge to everyone for the children in need stuff. By the way, very well done with the amounts raised for children in need this year. Very well done. So yeah, it was a good episode of Unleashed. I think it was a good introduction to the series with a bit of fun with Stefan and David Tennant, and also the fun bit of them sing Happy Birthday to David when they did his first scene for this minisode, and talking about him and the other supporting actor coming in and doing the Dalek stuff, and also about Davros. And yeah, there's an interesting point here that I'm going to cover now. I might do it in the review as well, but I'm going to cover now. So Russell T Davies didn't believe that having a Davros in this, as we saw in previous episodes, would be appropriate because Davros was a disabled character, basically, because after his accident, he loses his legs and his one of his arms, the right hand, so he's got his left hand, as we see in the stories, which then gets blown off in Revelation of the Daleks. So that's why he's got the claw hand in Stolen Earth, and also the Big Finish Terra Firma cover. Is it Terra Firma? No, it's the Juggernauts. He has a claw hand. But yeah, because he was a disabled character, let's say, because he's got the life support system, which is like a wheelchair. Because he is a disabled character, Russell thought it would not be appropriate to depict that on screen because of the implications of Davros being an evil character and disabled villainous evil characters. And on the night of Children in Need, which is all about helping and supporting children, many of whom may be disabled or have a disability. In fact, I'm going to wear this for the support, actually, whilst I talk about this bit, because of that. So he didn't think it was appropriate, although this does make me wonder why he had Davros in the episode at all to begin with. But yeah, he wanted to change Davros, and for Children in Need, and it makes sense. I think it's fine doing this just when showing Davros back on Skaro before he had his accident, and in this little 5-minute minisode where he's only on screen like 2 minutes, and yeah, just showing the pre-disabled Davros, still also pretty devious and villainous. Shows that just not having the accident made him a villain. So yeah, though whether this is what we're going to see with the character going forward is going to be another question entirely, because this scene is set pre accident, as we're supposed to believe. But as Russell says, this is how we see Davros now. That does make the concerns of when we go later down the line and Davros pops back and now he's walking again. He's not in his iconic life support system. And it does also make it give the implication that disabled people can somehow be able to walk again. That undertone worry. So yeah, I think it's understandable where Russell's coming from, but it is a double-edged sword with the decision. And I think just doing this post-accident set story, fine. It's completely fine. It completely makes sense. And if he feels like it's harmful to disabled people, completely understand that. But guys, maybe it's time for the character to be rested after all this time. If he's not going to work for the 2020s, I should say. I was going to say 21st century, but he's been fine for the 2000s and 2010s. But if it's not going to work for the 2020s, maybe just don't have him after this point. It's a good final appearance for the character going back, although it does make Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, the last chronological appearance, which isn't the best final story, and it's not the best final appearance for the character. But that being said, if he's not going to be able to work either in the life support system, or you're going to cause just as much controversy with him now somehow able to walk, unless you're able to get him a brand new body, but still, that's still a double-edged sword on that part. So unless you're able to find a really good way of doing that, maybe it's just time to, let's say, this is the last we see of him, at least for now. Because it is a bit of a double-edged sword either way you look at it. And yeah, it's very blown up on Twitter, which, for goodness sake, Doctor Who Twitter, will you stop being shit for one fucking day? I love the Doctor Who fan base sometimes, but other times I just want to... You know what? In response, Russell, go ahead and do whatever you want. Fine, whatever, fine. You know, whatever. Actually, all good. It's all good. Whatever. It's whatever. Sorry, everyone. I just hate Doctor Who Twitter users frequently. There was a joke in a Whoniverse video I made, which was actually a reused joke from a video that's coming up later down the line, but that was shot first, and then I reused that joke in that video that's been released already. But yeah, you know what? That joke is timid. That joke is timid compared to some of my feelings these days with Twitter, Doctor Who Twitter. I say Twitter, X. Oh, sorry, X. And I think that change happened shortly after we shot that video coming up later down the line, but whatever. It's Twitter. We all know it's bloody Twitter. So, whatever. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to have a little bit of a rant about that. But yeah, my stance is we should probably see Davros in the life support system unless disabled viewers are like, actually that isn't very nice anymore. Otherwise, then we could probably just go ahead, just say he's not evil because he's a wheelchair user, he's evil because he's a fucking Nazi. Okay, they won't say the F word in this episode. It has an instant 12 age rating at least. Well, then again, the BPFC have been rating almost every episode of the Whittaker era 12, only 2 I think are PG. So, it's not beyond. It's not going to be much higher. If it's just a one use, it just have to be post watershed, not for kids. Excuse me, I'm rambling. When do I not? But yeah. It would be a bit strange seeing the Davros in a new, well, not in a new body. I think getting a new body wouldn't be too bad, but yeah, somehow being able to walk again, unless he had some really good way of doing that, and not just a throwaway line, like actually go into it, explore it. But like I said, there is that concern that people who think it might be implying that disabled people can somehow be able to walk again or whatever. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. They said they talked really hard and long about it in the episode. They must have gone through some of these concerns and worries, and in the end decided this was still the best possible route, at least for this minisode, which, like I said, for this minisode, it's fine. For future appearances, well, we'll just have to see. I just hope Twitter at least calms down by then. So yeah, just give it a fucking rest already. Anyway, so that's my reaction to Doctor Who Destination Skaro, the 2023 Children Need Special. It's episode of Unleashed, the first one so far, and my stance on the Davros change. Like I said, it's perfectly fine, completely understandable for this episode. Moving forward, depends on, I mean, like I said, if they still stuck to the life support system, I think there will be disabled fans who will probably still be okay with it. They know Davros is not evil because he's a wheelchair villain. They understand why he's evil. But on the other side, I think many of us non-disabled people will understand why Davros would not be in his chair anymore. They just have to make a really good reason why he isn't in the context of the series, if they do that. Although pre-accident stories are, like I said, completely fine. That is still within the character and the storyline, etc., etc. Makes complete utter sense. And who knows? Davros probably might have been working on his Dalek even before his accident, before they made this episode. So yeah, that's still very possible. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for either the review of this episode, maybe a bit more in depth, or I talk about it more. At the very least, I give my score at the very least for it. And then after that, the Star Beast, or the Star Beast reaction will be next. Yeah, either the review of this story. This is, like I said, this is the reaction. I'll give it a few more watches. So either that or the Star Beast reaction will be next, unless I'm able to do a video for the 23rd itself. But thank you for watching. I'll see you guys. Sorry for the length. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.